Chapter 7 The Irishman. Few British men were more famous in the summer of 2014 than the Northern Ireland golfer Rory McIlroy. On 10th August, shortly after winning the Open Championship in Britain, the 25-year-old won the PGA Championship by one stroke in Kentucky. At 2 a.m. the following morning in New York, McIlroy walked into the Fitzpatrick Hotel on 57th Street and Lexington Avenue. Everyone who saw him over the following days recalls the golf champion as hot, hot, hot. He partied non-stop across Manhattan for 24 hours with his entourage. Without a break, he next flew in a private jet across the Atlantic to Manchester to collect a prize at Old Trafford. After more celebrations with United's footballers, he jetted back to Manhattan to appear on TV and join Tiger Woods to promote golf's big brands. By 19th August, he was looking for relaxing fun. McIlroy had just split from his blonde fiancée, Danish tennis ace Caroline Wozniacki, and was reported to be chasing brunettes. All the rage in America at that moment was the Ice Bucket Challenge. Famous personalities nominated each other to be drenched with ice water to raise money for research into motor neuron disease. Celebrities promoted themselves by posting a video of their ordeal. Unexpectedly, McIlroy nominated Meghan to drench herself with ice. Not uncoincidentally, Meghan was staying with a friend close to the Fitzpatrick Hotel, where McIlroy had a suite. She accepted the challenge on the condition that Rory came to her friend's apartment and personally poured the bucket over her on the balcony. After the video was posted, the two went to Fitzpatrick Hotel for a drink. They were spotted in the small bar by the hotel's owner, John Fitzpatrick. The 54-year-old American Irishman was renowned as chairman of the American Ireland Fund, as a major promoter of a united Ireland, as a philanthropist donating millions to charities, and as a friend of and donor to the Clintons. He had hosted their New York fundraisers since 1991. "He's at the front of the grid," Riley observed a businessman. Famous for exuding charm as the benefactor of hospitality, the confirmed bachelor was frequently photographed escorting beautiful women, and famous for giving them generous gifts, especially Louboutin stilettos. Media attention flattered his ego. "I was in the bar of my hotel," Fitzpatrick recalled, "and I saw Rory McIlroy. I walked over and he was with Meghan Markle. I was a huge fan of Suits. Sarah Rafferty, the lead in the series, became a good friend." Fitzpatrick invited the couple for dinner at Cipriani. By midnight, as the golfer and Meghan were photographed sitting close together, Fitzpatrick was hosting a party of 20. The following morning, McIlroy arrived at the Ringwood golf course 30 miles away to play in a new competition. Worse for wear, after a hectic night, he fell back to 101st place. Nevertheless, he refused to sleep as usual near the golf course to be ready the following day. Instead, he drove back to New York to see Meghan. His performance suffered. "I wasn't quite on my game," he confessed. "I was enjoying myself." Back in Toronto at the end of the week, with Corey Vitiello, Meghan gushed about the golfer in the TIG. "Ah yes, Rory McIlroy, the Rory McIlroy, whispered and shouted to be the foremost golfer in the world, loved by Tiger, respected by Palmer, and dumper of frigid water onto my lone head for the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge. That Rory McIlroy. He is a force who has the propensity to actually work hard and play hard, relishing intense practices to substantiate his title, embracing nights of sipping Opus 1, his bold and impressive choice of wine, and indulging in group dinners at Cipriani, for the balance, of course. And yet, beyond his work/play ethic, the most endearing quality of this man is his character, as real and honest as they come, appreciating a simple smile, never shunning a fan photo, enjoying a plate of pasta with veal ragu, and expressing a love for his parents that is rarely seen in men his age, or at any age, to be honest. He is not just the real deal, he is real. And perhaps that is what makes him even more cherished. A critical darling and fan favorite, it's for good reason. He is born and raised in Holywood, Ireland, a long cry from my hometown of Hollywood, California, and yet he alone could be the impetus for his Hollywood's own Walk of Fame. I imagine they would be glad to welcome that gilded boulevard in his honor. Today's TikTok is with the courteous, classy, and ever so talented Rory McIlroy, who, by the way, had the kindness and wherewithal to not put the 2 full bags of ice I bought into the bucket. He wanted me to raise awareness for ALS and yet also survive the challenge. For that, I am most grateful. Keen to use their close relationship to promote herself, she encouraged the media to publish photographs of McIlroy and her. As she would later admit, she occasionally set up a paparazzi photo or let info slip out to the press. Asked by Corey Vitiello whether she was having a relationship with McIlroy, Megan insisted their time together was innocent. He believed her. At the time, she anticipated meeting McIlroy and Fitzpatrick again in Dublin 8 weeks later. Megan had lobbied hard to be invited to the One Young World Conference in Dublin. She knew that celebrity in Hollywood was enhanced by philanthropy and activism. To secure her first platform, she asked Misan Harriman, an Anglo-Nigerian photographer, for a favor. Harriman's friend, the tennis champion Boris Becker, was about to address over 1,000 young people at a One Young World Conference in Dublin. Could Becker, asked Harriman, get a slot for Megan? Becker introduced Megan to his agent, Gina Nelthorpe Cohn, a glamorous South African based in London. Her specialty was to negotiate appearances by famous people in conferences, advertisements, and campaigns. Having booked another client, Bob Godorf, to speak in Dublin, she was well placed to ask the conference organizer, Kate Robertson, to give Megan a slot. The actress wanted to speak about gender equality and positive change. Robertson was cool on the idea. Nobody, including her, knew Meghan Markle. That changed after she spoke to her daughter. The young fan of Suits was instantly enthusiastic. Meghan was booked. Unlike the stars, Meghan would not receive a fee, only expenses. Excited about her trip, she posted a message to an Irish friend of McIlroy. Lock something down. I head out there October 14 to 17. Have a wonderful night. XMM. When I first arrived at Megan's hotel in Dublin, Nelthorpe Cohn recalled, she was in a toweling bathrobe with her hair tied back. We just clicked. We hugged as if we had known each other for ages. She was delightful, warm and personable. Nelthorpe Cohn sympathized with Megan's obvious purpose in Dublin, to promote her profile, increase her income, and become influential. Nelthorpe Cohn noticed that her new client walked gracefully on 4-inch heels and embraced well-wishers, as well as being beautiful and charismatic. Megan had perfected the art of a double-handed greeting. She made everyone feel they were the only one in the room. Even the star guests, including Mary Robinson, Ireland's former president, and Kofi Annan, the former United Nations Secretary General, were drawn to the flash of her engaging smile and the flicker of an eyelid. Nelthorpe Cohn was also charmed. As for Megan, Seeing the famous politicians in the front row as she began her speech, her self-importance soared. Identifying herself as a mixed-race woman, she spoke about her childhood, the box at school to identify her race, and her feeling of exclusion. But she gave no hint of personally suffering racism, nor did she mention discrimination, and she did not question the status of a mixed-race woman in a white society. Rather, she accepted European values. She made no attempt to describe a personal mission or offer an agenda to change the world. The totality of her speech was to urge her audience to admire her own personal experience and adopt her mantra of togetherness. No one could argue against those sentiments. The enthusiastic applause, especially by the politicians in the front row, confirmed that her performance had gone down well. In her own mind, as she later described, she had been elevated into the ranks of the powerful. That explained her unusual reaction as she headed towards the hotel lift. A young man politely beckoned her to enter in front of him. "I don't need that," she snapped, delivering a tirade to the startled man until the end of the ride. In the background was Corey. He had flown from Toronto with Megan, some would suggest in a NetJet, paid for by Rory McIlroy. He was introduced as a famous chef. Everyone agreed that he was somewhat quiet. Clearly, he was not a Gordon Ramsay type. That same night, Friday 17th, Megan left the hotel for dinner with Rory McIlroy at the upmark restaurant Fade Street Social. She was spotted looking smitten, gazing intently at McIlroy. They sat beside each other looking very cozy and chatted all night, reported Alexandra Ryan in the newspaper gossip column. That was Megan's third night in Dublin. On a previous night, John Fitzpatrick would describe his dinner with her and later implied that she and McIlroy had secretly met. Megan's Irish friends assumed that she and McIlroy had also met unseen earlier during her visit. Not surprisingly, the newspaper report annoyed Corey Vitiello. Again, he challenged Megan. Had there been an affair? He asked angrily. Emphatically, Megan denied that she had betrayed Corey. She and McIlroy were just friends, she said. Once more, he believed her. Her agent called Ryan for a correction. "They're madly in love," Alexandra Ryan wrote the following day about Megan and Corey. "The two of them were sewn at the hip the entire time they spent in Ireland." Megan was relieved. The golfer was not her future, and Corey was still her Toronto facilitator. Before the two flew on to Paris for the weekend, Gina Nelthorpe-Cohn promised her new client an exciting future as a showcased asset. She would arrange fee-paying engagements for Megan as a public speaker, and she would negotiate a deal for Megan as the face of a major fashion or skincare brand. "I want to be the face of L'Oreal," Megan had declared seriously. "I have legs as long as a mile." Their relationship was sealed with a kiss. In her emails to Gina thanking her for her support, Megan signed her messages, "Sending love, XOXOXO, hugs and kisses, MM."